NFL world when NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob, and welcome to the NFL Dream, where we got the Seattle Seahawks today. And looking at their free agency, or what they did, who they lost in free agency, who they gained, you could really see they took the pieces they were considered the older pieces. They got rid of those. They kept the youthful talent, and then they brought some older guys in to rebrand it in a certain way. That's what they did. They destroyed the house that was there. They started to build a new house, and then they said, we need old-fashioned windows, an old-fashioned door, this, that, the other thing, to make it more rustic in certain ways, more vintage. And that's basically what they did. They added Sam Darnold. They added Cooper Kupp. They added DeMarcus Lawrence, who are still great players. That they just aren't as good. We saw Sam Darnold coming off his best season as a pro of his entire career being paired with Kevin O'Connell. Now he's with Mike McDonald. Let's see what happens there. Cooper Kupp, coming over from the rival Rams, when healthy, he's a number one wide receiver. He gets open. He's a great third down threat. He does all those things. He's just not been able to stay healthy in recent years. DeMarcus Lawrence, he's not the sack artist he was, and he really wasn't a sack artist to begin with, but he's great at stopping the run. He's going to get you a boatload of pressures, and he's going to make it difficult from the defensive side of the ball. He's going to be on the defense, that anchor you need. That's where you bring him in. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Josh Jones were also added. Those guys are 1-year deals. Let's see what happens with that. But Valdes-Scantling can run. We've seen that. He's just got to put it together more and relax himself. And like when he was with New Orleans last year, I thought he played very well at the end of the year. Josh Jones, it's hard to define an offensive line. They brought back Ernest Jones. They brought back Jaron Reed. Those were two moves they had to bring back because Ernest Jones, when he was there, played very well. Jaron Reed, when he was there, played very well. Something you want to continue. Especially those guys are good for the culture, which is what you want. Talking about the culture and bringing in the older players, you bring in some of the younger players. They had multiple. They had a lot of picks actually. I was gonna say multiple, but it's not multiple. They drafted in the first round Grace Dable, which that was pretty much understood that he was gonna go there from North Dakota State. Round 2 was safety Nick Emewoy from South Carolina. Emewoy got a complete guaranteed contract, almost complete guaranteed contract, which was because of what Houston did and how they gave their guy a guaranteed contract in the second round. And the Browns did the same thing. It was kind of like, okay, now what do we do? We have to give him a guarantee. We have to do that. So they did. Tight end Elijah Arroyo was also in the second round. He was from Miami. Quarterback Jalen Milroe from Alabama, who you brought Sam Darnold in to basically mentor Jalen Milroe. That's why you did it. So, they didn't have a round 4 pick. Round 5 was Riley Mills from Notre Dame, an offensive tackle. Horton, excuse me, from Colorado State, wide receiver, also in the 5th round. A fullback, Robbie Out, I should say, from Alabama. That was in the 5th round. In the 6th round, Bryce, I think it's pronounced Cowadu. That's how we're going to say it. I apologize if I mispronounced it. From Kansas, 3 7th-round picks in Damian Martinez, who didn't make the team, but he was from Miami. Tackle guard combination of Mason Richmond from Iowa, and also in the 7th round, wide receiver Ricky White III from the University of Las Vegas. So you can see there's a little bit of a trend here of what they were trying to do in sense of building up certain spots, guard, tackle, fullback, wide receiver. That's what they try to do. And I thought they did a really nice job with it. So there you go. They did lose some valuable pieces too. Laken Tomlinson was their starting guard last year. He signed a one-year deal with the Texans. Okay, he wasn't good really for them, but he was a starter, so it's noteworthy. Trey Brown signed a one-year deal with the 49ers, so it's a rival team that does mean a little more. But again, you're not really thinking about it that much because of all the pieces you already currently have. Stone Forsythe, who also isn't that great in my opinion, he signed with the Giants. He was your starting tackle because you had just no one that could play tackle. Everyone got banged up. And then they list like he Valdez Scantling was released and then brought back. It was all over the place. George Fant was released. Rayshawn Jenkins was released. But again, like we said in the beginning, Geno Smith, DK Metcalf were both traded. DK Metcalf went to Pittsburgh. I think they did that more or less just to say we want to have the new guy in and out the door you go. It wasn't like Geno played bad. Geno wasn't playing bad. He did have a lot of interceptions, but he wasn't bad. That whole team was bad. It needed to be remodeled for certain. This was a team that went 10-7. It was not like they played historically bad, but they were 7-1 on the road. They were a really good road team last year. They were just terrible at home. They were 3-6 at home. They had a 58.8 win percentage. They won the last two games to make it even close. But this was a team that started 3-0, and they got into Detroit. That was a buzzsaw, and then it never came back. Really, they just never had the confidence to let it go, and they just couldn't do it. And you saw it. Looking at their schedule here, home for San Francisco, at Pittsburgh, home for New Orleans, at Arizona, home for Tampa, at Jacksonville, home for Houston on a Monday night. The Arizona game is a Thursday night game, by the way. That's September 25th. Bye week 8, so it's in the middle. So I feel more comfortable with that. Even though it's still a long way to go, you feel more comfortable with it. And so that first half of the stretch is not bad. This is kind of where it starts to pick up a little bit. At Washington, the bye week, that's a Sunday nighter. Home for Arizona, at the Rams, at Tennessee, home for Minnesota, at Atlanta, home for Indianapolis, home for the Rams, at Carolina, and finish off at San Francisco. That's a very tough stretch. And this is where I keep looking at it. I'm saying this was a 10-7 team last year. And I can count 10 wins in the schedule. Can they win 11? And then I keep looking. I'm like, maybe they can split with San Francisco. Maybe they can split with Arizona, but I count 10. So going with my comfort, I'm going to say they go and they find a way to win that extra game and they go 11-6. But they're battling for like one of the finals. This team, as good as they could be, will still have problems on the offensive side that have to be addressed. And it's not just going to be fixed by the quarterback. It needs to be a way to fix this offense. And I don't know if they can this year. So I got it going 11-6, but I think it's more of in spite of the offense and more of the defense. Well, let me know in the comments the Seattle Seahawks win more than 10 games this year. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Hubert. Out.